And welcome back to The Price of Business. Bill Knapik sitting in for Kevin Price. And now the show marches on. It rolls on. It continues. We have the Phia Group, Mr. Adam Russo with the Phia Group. Adam, thank you and welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
It's always great. You know, Adam, tell people, first of all, the Phia Group, and that's spelled P-H-I-A. Tell them what that is.
Well, thank you so much for having me today. And sure, I'd love to tell you about my company. So the Phia Group is a company that I created. I'm the co-founder with my best friend from college back in 1999, with our mission basically just to reduce the overall cost of healthcare for employers. So this, when we created this company, there was no Obamacare or healthcare reform. I mean, this was before, I think, the national media really put too much emphasis on the overall cost of care itself. So we started the company back in 1999. We each invested about $2,000 and started the company in my mother's basement, which, she wasn't very happy about that, to be honest with you. But we started it there, and today, 16 years later, we now have about 150 employees. We represent over 5 million employee lives nationwide, most of them being self-funded employers. And our goal is to reduce the cost of health care, to ensure basically that we can continue employer-based health care for millions of Americans. And the best way to do that is by finding ways to reduce the overall cost. And we've been successful doing that for the past 16 years.
It's very interesting, exciting to see how any business starts in a basement, in a garage, whatever. That's fascinating. And you've answered one of the questions I was going to ask, the area that you serve. So you are nationwide helping people.
Yeah, so our first client was actually a school district in New Jersey. And our beginnings started off with doing what they call a subrogation. We would scrub claims data. So we look at all the claims that a particular employer pays for through its health plan on behalf of its members. And we identify claims that really someone else should be paying for, that were overpaid, or duplicate payments, et cetera. We identify those claims, recoup those funds, and then obviously that's how we get paid. For whatever savings that we're able to recoup for our clients, obviously we get a piece of them. And what we realized as we started scrubbing the data, so think of our company as almost a half of a law firm. Half it's like a law firm, and half it is a data mining company. And what we started realizing was that there was just so much money out there that was just being wasted. I don't even want to call it fraud. Fraud is intentional. You have to actually have intent to commit fraud. Okay, it's a crime.
Right.
This is just money just overtly just being wasted. And if this was any other sector of our country, any other business, any other industry, people would be aghast with the amount of just waste that there is. But it's almost as if in healthcare, for whatever reason, people just assume it's part of business, and that's something that we started fighting back in 1999. And now, obviously, it's front page of news now, whereas 10, 15 years ago, sir, for me to get anyone to talk about reducing the overall cost of care was very hard to do, to get anyone to even care about it. Now, obviously, people do care, but now it seems that most people, especially politicians, really don't know how to tackle the problem.
Now, wouldn't it be safe to say that, unfortunately, people, individuals, companies also are just getting used to just ridiculous, you're talking about waste and high costs, unfortunately, we're getting used to that, so it may not even be in our sights anymore.
Great point. Let me give you an example, right? So as the owner of this company, every year we have to do, a budget, okay? Most employers nowadays, when they look at their expenses and they look at the health care line item for health insurance, they assume it's like a fixed cost. It's no different than a lease. That's what they look at it. They don't realize that actually can be reduced substantially. And most people assume that in order to reduce your health care costs, you have to reduce coverage. You have to limit the type of insurance that you make available to your employees. I believe the opposite is true. My company, we have a very robust health plan for our employees because we know that in order to retain and obtain quality individuals, you need to take care of them. And obviously they want to get paid well, but I think more importantly, they want to make sure they're secure. They want to make sure that their family has great health insurance coverage. But you can do that and also limit and lower the actual cost of care. The difference is you actually have to make an attempt to do so. You can't just rely on your broker. You can't just rely on your insurance agent. You can't rely on the insurance companies to actually look out for your interest. You have to actually do that yourself, and that's why our emphasis has been on growing the self-funded marketplace, because in the self-funded world, which is roughly right now, just so you know, it's about 56% of the overall market is self-funded. So 56% of all employers self-fund their health benefits. And most employees don't even know that, but that is the reality. These are the employers that we represent because they're able to actually design their own health plan and have control over how their healthcare dollars are spent.
Wow, that's incredible. Also, so tell people, individuals that are out there, what should they know about your company in terms of if they're interested, or employers, what should they do to use your services?
Well, obviously, you can reach out to me directly. I'm the CEO of the company. Our website is www.Phia Group. That's PHIA Group.com. That's the best way. And email me at Russo, ARUSSO, @PhiaGroup.com. And the bottom line is, if you're an employer and you're just sick of being told every year that you have to increase your premium, you have to increase your employees' copay and deductibles, if that's something you're just sick of hearing, which is what more and more employers are sick of doing, then reach out to us because we have alternatives. So, for example, if you wouldn't mind, I could share a couple different things.
Yes, please do.
So let me give you an example. We know, for example, our office is in Boston. We know that every year we're going to have a certain number of pregnancies in our office. We have a pretty young, growing staff, but we know that we're going to have a bunch of pregnancies. The price variation for a normal delivery, okay, we're not talking about C-sections or any complications. A normal delivery, you would think that the prices for that at 10 area hospitals here around the Boston area would be similar or close. Sir, it's all over the board. And we're talking, when I say all over the board, I'm talking about from $8,000 per episode to $40,000 per episode. But if you're the employee, all you think of is what's my copay and what's my out-of-pocket. You're not even realizing how much that employer is paying depending on where you're going. So what we do here at our organization, what we advise our clients to do, is actually incentivize your employees to care about more than just their copay and their deductible. That's the problem with our healthcare system today, is that nobody actually knows that a hospital A, that service is $40,000, hospital B, the same exact service is $5,000, and yet the quality at hospital B is probably better than the quality at hospital A. In healthcare, it's not like every other part of our business. If I purchased a car, I'm assuming that a $100,000 car is a better quality car than a $20,000 car. And that's because market forces have made it so. The exact opposite is true in healthcare. Most of the best facilities in the country are actually lower priced than the higher cost facilities. And the reason is because the actual consumer, the person that actually goes to the facility, like you and me, have no idea what it actually costs. When you get your bill, you see what's your copay, what's your out-of-pocket, what's your deductible. As we're trying to get real transparency, the more and more individual people and employers can actually see what it's costing, that's when people freak out. That's when people say, how is it possible that this pregnancy is $8,000 here, $40,000 there? So what we've done is we incentivize our employees. We said, okay, you can go to any hospital you want that's in the network, but if you choose to go to this hospital, which is the $8,000 one, okay, we'll give you $2,000 a year in diapers and baby wipes. Now, I can tell you, sir, as a father of 4 kids, all under the age of 3, baby wipes and diapers are my life, okay? That's basically, other than being at work, that's my entire life.
You know a lot about that, yes.
Exactly. So giving an employee an incentive to get $2,000 worth of diapers for their first year of their having their baby, that's a pretty good incentive. It gives a person a reason to maybe look at a facility that they otherwise wouldn't look at. So incentivizing the employees for steerage, getting employees to actually care about the overall cost is a big factor. A second thing that we promote, and we do this through education and also through the actual plan document, every single person that has health insurance has what they call an SPD, a summary plan description. That is a plan document that tells you what's covered, what's not, What's your copay, deductibles, exclusions, the whole thing. What we basically have done is we advise our clients, and our clients are employers, all sizes, from five life, small 5 employee shops to 100,000 employee, corporations. What we advise them is incentivize your employees to actually look at their bill and see if there are errors. And if they find an error, and because they found that error, the plan doesn't have to pay some part of the bill, they get 10% of that money back. So there's an incentive for the employee to actually care about identifying duplicate payments, errors, etc. Because one of the key things that in my opinion, none of the politicians on both sides of the aisle, both sides of the aisle get this wrong. When people say, what do you need to do to fix the healthcare system? You hear about all borders and being able to purchase insurance over state lines. These things, to me, are almost laughable. What you need to do is figure out why facilities, hospitals, air transport, helicopters, dialysis centers, all these different facilities and providers, how come their pricing isn't available to the public? Why can't I go online and see what the cost of a knee replacement surgery is at this particular facility versus that particular facility? I could go online and Google a toaster oven and see what the ratings are, the pricing options are, where the comments from different people, ratings, rankings for different people on a toaster oven. But try to do the same thing for a knee replacement. That's the problem with our healthcare system, and there's a reason why, sir, I'm able to go out and get LASIK surgery. I actually had that done a couple years back. The cost of LASIK surgery has gone down tremendously. Why? Because you can actually Google LASIK and see what the pricing and different facilities compete over your business because it's typically not covered under health insurance. Stuff that is covered under health insurance, you'll notice there is no price transparency. There is no ability to just look at different facilities and see the pricing and what the variations are. And that's the problem. As long as my employees and your employees and employees all over the country, individual patients, don't actually realize that if they go to XYZ hospital versus ABC hospital, what the difference in the cost is to everybody, until that changes, until people actually care about more than their copay and deductible, nothing about our healthcare system is going to change. And the problem that we have is all the drug manufacturers, all the pharmaceuticals, all the hospitals, all the large insurers, all the medical associations, they're all in the pockets of the lobbyists. They're all in the pockets of Congress. They're all in the pockets of the politicians. So there's nothing in it for these people to actually want to change the system. And that's why when you see certain organizations and certain hospitals and certain physicians out there that are now trying to put their prices online, trying to make a marketplace for their services, that's what gets me excited, and that's what gives me hope for the future.
Very nice. It's almost like they don't want us to know, right, Adam?
It is.
It's exactly.
It's unbelievable.
Wow.
And it's funny. Some of the network contracts out there, some of the networks out there, actually prohibit their own doctors from putting their pricing online. If you were a doctor in Topeka and you said, you know what, I'm going to put all my pricing online so people can shop my prices versus someone else, they're forbidden to do that based on their contracts with their particular network. So if they want to be a part of a network, in that big book of providers, if they want to be part of a network, they agree not to publish their pricing. So it's incredible what we hear about from, the people in regards to the exchanges, what we hear from President Obama, all the good ideas on transparency. The reality is transparency is a myth. It doesn't exist in the healthcare system. It needs to exist, and if it does, we can have actual change going on.
Very nice, Adam. Thank you so much. Adam Russo with the Phia Group. One more time, the website, Adam?
It's www.phiagroup.com.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. You're listening to The Price of Business with Bill Knapik, and stay tuned. We're coming right back with even more.